Hey everybody, welcome to The Year Was, a podcast all about today. I'm your host Michael Montalvo, and together we take the history train back in time once again to discover what makes today truly unique. For the next few minutes we continue to gather random nuggets of trivia to make you sound smart, or just drop that little fact that makes others stop and say, hey, who invited you? Like seriously, why are you here? Together we examine the events that occurred today, April 10th. The year was 1815, and on this day, Mount Tambora, located in the Lesser Sunda Islands of Indonesia, exploded in the largest volcanic eruption in recorded history. Beginning on April 5th, Tambora's 1815 eruption started with small tremors and pyroclastic flows. Pyroclastic flows are a fluid mixture of hot rock fragments, gases, and entrapped air that move in thick clouds and hug the ground. On the evening of April 10th, an earth-shattering blast blew the mountain apart. The blast, its pyroclastic flows, and the resulting tsunamis killed around 10,000 people and destroyed the homes of over 30,000 more. Before the eruption, Mount Tambora stood about 14,000 feet, or around 4,300 meters. After the explosion, all that remained was a large bowl-shaped volcanic depression, or a caldera, spanning about 3.7 miles across. What made this eruption truly devastating is that it sent over 36 cubic miles of ash, pumice, rock, and aerosols, including around 60 megatons of sulfur, into the atmosphere. This actually prevented a fair amount of sunlight from reaching the surface of the Earth, and this lowered the global temperature an average of 5.4 degrees Fahrenheit and resulted in the deaths of 80,000 more due to disease and famine. This was not limited to the immediate area, however, and areas as far as Western Europe and Eastern North America experienced heavy snow and killer frost through August of the next year. It was due to this that 1816 came to be known as the year without a summer. And while this is a terrible thing to happen, it wouldn't be the only thing of note to really happen on this day. The year was 1917, and on this day, 18-year-old Grace Fryer started working as a dial painter at the United States Radium Corporation. This would change her life and workers' rights forever. Grace Fryer was among thousands that would become known as the Radium Girls, but who were they? To put it simply, they were a group of workers that painted watch dials with radium paint and suffered due to its radioactive nature. After radium was discovered, people went crazy for it. When it was discovered that it could treat cancer, it became something of a miracle drug and was sold in pharmacies for all kinds of ailments. People were so enamored with it, it was thought to hold anti-aging properties and was sold as a toothpaste, cosmetics, and even in water. It was Harold J. Hammer, however, that went to Paris and returned with radium salt crystals that, after mixing with glue and zinc sulfide, made a glow-in-the-dark paint. It was this discovery that led to the U.S. Radium Corporation to use the paint to manufacture watches and airplane instruments. They set up in New Jersey and recruited women such as Grace Fryer to paint the dials. The problem was that no safety precautions were taken at the time, and the women were encouraged to lick the brushes to keep the tip pointed. According to records, the women themselves would leave the factory glowing due to the paint being on their clothes and skin. Hair and faces, hands, arms, necks, and clothes were all shown to be luminous. And one woman actually had luminous spots on her legs and thighs, and the back of another was luminous almost to the waist. Despite all of this, the company assured the women that the work was safe. Radium, however, is mistaken by the body for calcium, so it would end up filling the bones, causing them to break, teeth to fall out, and spines would collapse. By 1927, over 50 of them had died. Attempts to receive compensation from the U.S. Radium Company were futile because of the medical costs, the company's legal team, and its position as a government contractor. It would be Grace Fryer and 4 others that would eventually file a lawsuit for damages of $250,000. Although desperate for money, they would eventually settle on only $10,000 each, given to them in annual payments of only $600. However, none of them would survive more than 2 years after that settlement. They became known as the Radium Girls, and because of the case, strict guidelines were put in place for worker safety. But it wasn't until 1949 that the US passed a law that gave workers the right to receive compensation for occupational illness. And the radium watches, they would continue to be manufactured until 1968. And that's going to do it for us today. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can find an extended audio version on Podbean, Spotify, and Google Play. Links in the description. You can find me on social media and on YouTube at the Apple Cider Club. And as always, I want to thank the Tim Kreitz Band for our musical theme, and to thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.